Pairing. We are live. We'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
Do it live. It's not going to find it on my own channel. Weird the hoops that I have to jump through. All right, here we go. Greetings, everyone. We're live. One watching, I don't know who it is, but thank you. Yeah. And for those of you who are watching later, once this is not live anymore, we're going to be talking about mostly what's going on in the financial system with the banking failures in the United States within the past few days. What's up, Cronin? And then whatever else you guys want to talk about as well.
You're live.
Yep.
So yeah, I've noticed a few things happening, and a lot of people have been talking about this banking thing. Mm-hmm. Hey, what happens if you one day can't go get money? And everyone's like, no, it's not going to happen. And then something came across TikTok this morning about the Silicon Valley Bank, and Bart was like, oh, they're out of money. And everyone's like, what? And then
right.
I only have enough money for 3 more people. And then
well, the weird thing is that there's a couple different issues going on with banking. It's always been an issue that there isn't enough cash for everyone to pull out their money at once. Even when the banking system is so-called healthy, only 10% of US money is ever represented in physical currency, period. You know what I mean? So there's never, and the amount that any bank has on hand is related to seasonal fluctuations. They do calculations based on it and everything. But so even in good times, there's never an ability for everyone to go to the bank and pull out all their money in cash. It just doesn't exist. And a lot of that 10% isn't even in the United States. It's overseas, held by drug cartels and things like that. So that's one problem. And then liquidity crunches with the actual digital money is even another layer on top of that. And that's kind of what we're seeing now is these banks don't have any liquidity with the actual, even the digital dollars.
I think what stand on the moon. No, I'm not on the moon. It's just when I turn the lights on here, it looks a little looks like I'm albino, and I don't want people on TikTok making fun of me. I was out for lunch the other day, and I noticed that everybody was paying with their credit card, and I thought that was kind of odd because it goes to the thing of, at the end of the month when you pay your credit card off, we'll see your credit card bill's $2,400, and that's all the things that you bought, for that month, and you only pay say $2,000 on your credit card. Well, now there's that $400 left. You're gonna have to pay interest on, so you're paying interest on that $40 breakfast, which kind of blows my mind why people wouldn't just pay with cash when it comes to that type of
right
purchase, so to speak.
Yeah, so there's an article here that explains exactly what's going on with SVB. It says on Wednesday, SVB announced it had sold a bunch of securities at a loss and that it would also sell 2.25 billion in new shares to shore up its balance sheet. That triggered a panic among key venture capital firms who reportedly advised companies to withdraw their money from the bank. Then their stock began plummeting Thursday morning, and by afternoon, it was dragging the other bank shares down with it as investors began to fear a repeat of the 2007-2008 financial crisis. By Friday morning, trading in SVB shares was halted, and it had abandoned efforts to quickly raise capital or find a buyer. And then that's when the FDIC stepped in and shut everything down. But the interesting thing to note is a repeat of 2008, nothing was fixed then. They came in, they bailed out the banks, they papered over all the issues. Banking as a system has been operating almost exactly the same ever since then, and nothing has been fixed. If anything, it's gotten way, way worse. The problems have gotten way bigger. It's getting ugly.
Yeah, and you know what? So basically what I've been doing once a week now is I just go to the bank and I pull out, between $400 and $500 just to kind of dwindle down my savings.
Yeah.
And, it's whatever is sitting in my account really isn't making a whole lot of interest. I could keep it in my safe at home here just in case, something does happen, I don't know if it happened in the States, but up here in Canada, Rogers went down and you couldn't buy anything with your card or debit or anything like that. So it's always good to have cash on hand, which, it put a lot of people out because, they couldn't use their credit card to buy their $4 Starbucks for
Right. And there's lots of reasons why that could happen. Like if your bank goes down like this, but power outages, internet outages, there's lots of reasons why you wouldn't be able to like swipe your card and use your digital money. And having cash is a way to prepare for all of that, not just banking failures, but like grid down type shit too.
Oh, it's just everything out there. It's always good to keep cash on hand, but it just seems that too many people, are just too like accepting that. Oh, it's a convenience, so I'm going to use this convenience for my credit card, and everyone. Oh, you actually have money on you. Why do you have money on you?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you have money on you?
And even if you don't have it, I mean, I always carry some physically on me, but even if you don't carry it, like it's not smart to walk around with like $5,000 on you at all times, but like you should have that at your house in case something happens,
Unless you're me, of course. Like,
right.
Who's gonna fuck with me?
Exactly. Unless you're me and you got to go do a lot of degenerate gambling, then you got to carry a bunch of cash.
Well, yeah, of course, but yeah, it's an odd thing. People have gotten too relaxed, I should say, or they're too. It's convenient. And that's the thing. It's people are getting too relaxed, and then when something catastrophic happens, and I'm not talking like we're gonna get nuclear war or we're gonna have a fucking EMP fall down and rain on us, but weather lately has been turning the shit, knocking the power grid out quite a bit. So
right,
it's always good to have that little bit of cash sitting at home in case you have to do.
Right, and this financial contagion will spread. It might not be like yet be a complete meltdown of the system, but like we're going to see more things pop up that disturb the banking system. So like being prepared for many banks to not necessarily be operating in the way that they are on a day-to-day basis is the smart move.
Oh, 100%. And most people just don't realize to do that. And it's odd that we live in a day and age like that. But I know there's a lot of preppers that keep a lot of money in the mattresses, so to speak,
right,
in case for that fall.
Right. And I think also like preppers tend to like go one way or the other, like, well, like not preppers, but like people tend to go one way or the other. Like they'll ignore it completely, like you're talking about. And then you have preppers that are like, I'm not getting involved in financial shit at all. I'm not going to plan for my retirement. I'm just going to buy it, put all my money to beans, bullets, band-aids and whatnot. But which that's not necessarily the smartest move either. But like right now we are specifically facing certainly some weird shit going to go happen in the financial industry.
I'm not really looking forward to see what happens.
Yeah, I think who was it? I was just reading. Yeah, Buddy X Politics and Signature Bank in New York just collapsed too. Yeah, and even Bank of America they have an article over here. I don't know if they're talking about themselves, but this is brace for impact. I know Credit Suisse has been having a lot of problems over the years, or past couple of years, in terms of they're really shaky. I wouldn't be surprised to see them have major issues over the next coming weeks and months. So it's going to get bigger. And I think on a Monday, we'll probably see this financial tank and take the whole market on a decent dip.
Oh, can you imagine? Jesus, people would be jumping out of planes and buildings.
I mean, if they don't, if for some reason they manage to be like, oh, we fixed it and the market doesn't go down, I think that would be a sign that there's like massive manipulation. They would have to conjure up a lot of money to dump into the system to keep that from happening. So I would honestly think that if the market doesn't tank tomorrow, we might even be in worse shape than if it does.
So do you think that they'll start pulling people's money out of their bank accounts?
Yeah, I think some people have already. I know Chris Martinson had some videos of people standing around the corner, and I'm sure people are starting to do that. Maybe not like en masse, but definitely more than usual.
But what I'm talking about, do you think it's possible for the banks to start pulling money out of people's bank account to keep the bank afloat?
Oh yeah, like what do they call it? Bail-ins. I mean, anything's on the table. I don't know what I haven't heard of that happening yet at like the retail level, like individuals. I'm sure that will happen more so with like pension funds and stuff where they're like, you're not going to need this money for a while. We'll use it to recapitalize and we'll owe you kind of shit. That might happen.
That's troublesome as well, because, if, even for pension
Sure.
funds, people that are collecting a pension now, if they start taking money out of that, then
Right.
that's going to be a
Or the
huge.
people who are just about to retire and now all of a sudden their portfolio is worth half of what it was, a couple of years ago.
What do you guys call it out there? It's a 401k or something like
Yeah,
that?
that's a form of retirement account.
Okay. Yeah,
But yeah,
it'd be a shit show, when that happens. But then again, say if everybody pulls their money out and then they come with say a new currency or what have you, and they'll be like, oh, you just took $5,000 out of your account and now it's completely worthless because now we're using, say, Biden bucks or
right. Well, that's what everyone's worried about, is making some sort of CBDC that they can control at like the extremely granular level, in terms of like they could even change interest rates per individual or per sector. They could tell you, like you have to pay your taxes through these, digital currency, and this is the only way you can do it. And if you don't, we're gonna, take your property if you don't pay your property taxes. And then if you have money in your account, so you have to spend it, or else it becomes worth half as much, or who knows what kind of weird shit they could do if they go to like 100% digital new currency. It's weird.
And I'll tell you, everybody is, you see a lot of people talking about digital currency. I know I've been seeing a lot on TikTok, and people like, oh yeah, what's the big deal? Who cares? Digital currency is great. You don't have to carry cash
Right.
with you. You don't have to worry about coins with you anymore. And then so people are trying to beat it in these people's heads that, okay, sure, you're on digital currency. Well, what happens if you say something that goes against whatever?
Yeah.
They take away your money.
I mean, look what you don't think they would have like shut down the money for all the people in the truckers convoy or whatever in Canada, or all the people, instead of coming on Twitter and saying like, hey, whatever about COVID that people are getting kicked off for, you don't think they would have been like, oh, now you can't, if you say this, you can't spend your money, or you can't make your money, your accounts are locked up. Like, they're already doing that shit in China.
Well, they froze everyone's bank account that donated to the trucker convoy in Canada.
Right. Yeah.
And people forget about that, and they say, when people bring that up, they're like, oh no, that was just those trucker racist piece of shits, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
They think just because it didn't happen to them physically, it can't happen to them.
Yeah, I see that a lot, where people are like, oh, that's not a problem that like I would ever have, so I'm not worried about their, like, you tell people like they're trying to put us in this cage that prevents us from going over here, and they're like, well, I never go over there, so like who cares? And I'm like, like once you're in the cage, like they can make it whatever size they want.
Well, exactly. And it's just it's a perfect example when the bill came out in Canada here to ban all our firearms, and so it was all the people that own an AR-15 was all like, oh, this is fucking bullshit. But other
Right.
people own hunting rifles and such, they're like, oh, it doesn't really affect me. I don't have an AR-15. I don't give a fuck.
Right. Yeah, I don't need all those crazy weapons.
And then all of a sudden they started wanting to ban hunting rifles. And then they're like, so all these guys are like, well, this
And
is
every handgun. Yeah.
And then people that they tried to, well, they're still trying to ban airsoft weapons. So the airsoft community was like, well, this is fucking bullshit. Why the fuck, And then, they're banning my guns.
Yeah, by then everyone who would be willing to like fight with you has either been arrested or their guns taken away.
It's crazy. People just got to realize that it may not happen to you now, but it's going to happen to you soon.
Well, and also like, even if these particular issues aren't your pet issues, like guns or whatever, the point is that once you put yourself in a position where they can control you like that, then they can do whatever they want. Like most of these people, if they don't care about guns, be like, okay, well, would you want Trump to have control over like what you do with your money? And of course they would say no. You know what I mean? So why do you want to give the government that control? You don't always know who's going to be making the decisions and what those decisions are going to be.
Right.
And once you're in that position, you're fucked.
Oh, it's crazy. And it's one of those things. People just don't get it. And then when they start to get it, they're like, nah, I think I'll bury my head deeper into the sand.
Right. Now, someone earlier was saying, I'm waiting patiently to see where this one goes. And that's pretty much where I'm at too. I'm not expecting there to be like a instantaneous collapse within the next few weeks. They're going to prop up these couple institutions, paper over what they think the problems are, and everything will seem okay. But like the pillars are starting to crumble. and eventually the whole temple is going to collapse, but it won't be within the next 2 weeks. It'll probably take place over the next couple of years, which looking back, like when you look back at the Great Depression and all that, like it doesn't seem like a long time if you describe the events over a period of 4 or 5 years. But when you're in it and these headlines are popping up, seems like it's, not going that fast.
It almost seems like it's, they're replacing, they're putting a small little Band-Aid on the owie. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And they keep putting it on. Pretty soon the owie's like fucking huge, and it's got 9 million Band-Aids on it.
Yeah.
Bleeding through like crazy.
Or they're basically giving like a cancer patient meth and being like, wow, look, he's vibrant again, he's vigorous, he feels good. And you're like, but you're not fixing the fact that he's rotting out from the inside. You're just saying like, oh, he can still run, he can still jump, so he's healthy. And then they're pumping more meth into him until finally he's gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
Or you open him up and see that the whole thing is completely rotted out.
And it's another thing too, these folks, because I see a lot of it on TikTok. I barely watch the news. I barely watch, kind of Google and all that other good stuff. I just kind of watch the shit unfold on TikTok. And people are, they're out there, they're doing their best to kind of warn folks like, hey, listen, this might happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it might happen. Maybe what you should do is, prepare for it. Just like these 15-minute cities that have been going all over the fucking place, and now shit's coming down from China that started these 15-minute cities a couple of years ago. They got facial recognition where you have to show your face to go in and out of the of your locked area. Some of the fences, the walls they got to barbed wire up, it looks like a prison.
Yeah, and then like if you make a post against the government, you're like, oh, now you can't use the bus, or now you can't buy a plane ticket.
Yeah.
They're already doing that kind of shit over there.
Oh, it's crazy. And you know what? It's, I always get this, like Mark saying, TikTok is evil. Well, then it's like, it's probably owned by China, right? Well, so is your cell phone's owned by China. Well,
I mean, like I've said before, if you have to assume that there's FBI agents like watching everything you're doing, and probably Chinese spies. So don't do anything on digitally that you wouldn't do if if they were sitting right beside you. Well, exactly. But Freedom by Me says, I think it all ends when the world moves off the US dollar as a reserve currency. And yeah, I totally agree. That's what I've been saying on my channel for a long time. In fact, we wouldn't even have gotten this far if we weren't the world reserve currency. No one would be putting up with the bullshit of how like this system is run and like how much debt we have and everything if it wasn't the world reserve currency. And we're seeing countries like Saudi Arabia moving away from it. Russia, China, and the BRICS nations are all kind of going into their own little world financially with unilateral trade. And eventually they're going to come up with some sort of new currency, whether it's a basket, whether it's gold backed, whether it's whatever. And then it'll just keep getting worse and worse until we're like, oh shit, now we have like trillions of dollars that no one cares about, and they'll really become worthless. But it'll get weird.
I don't know. It's going to be an interesting shit show. What happens? Mark says he doesn't have a cell phone. Good on you, buddy.
Yeah, but I mean, you obviously have internet. You know what I mean? So that's definitely awesome. But there's always some ways you have to, be careful. And I don't think there's anything wrong with using cell phone or internet or any of it in and of itself. But you have to be, cognizant of how that could be corrupted or tracked and all that.
Oh yeah, it's just crazy the amount of stuff that's out there. The amount of stuff is are they watching every one of us? Well, probably not. But once they
not directly, but they have all that data that they can probably go back and look at if they want to.
Well, yeah. Or I seen another video on TikTok. I can't remember exactly where it was, but they just put a bunch of cameras up in neighborhoods for facial recognition. And Buddy had a battery operated grinder saw.
Nice. What I was thinking about, and of course I would never do this because I'm a fine, upstanding citizen, but they have those lasers now that you can like pop balloons with. So I bet if you like went around with those like really powerful ones and like held on them for a few minutes, a few seconds even, they would probably fry them.
Yeah, that would probably work as well. But I think what Buddy was doing was putting the message out there saying, hey, we're not taking this bullshit anymore. And they're grinding these things down, which was quite comical. But the problem was there's 3 or 4 videos on him. So, you know, who knows what gulag he's living in right now, but
Right. Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah, and I don't make financial recommendations, but for those of you talking about pulling cash out, I literally made a video a couple days ago before this happened saying that, you should have a few months worth of cash on hand. And the way I'll just put it now is I don't think money in the banks is very safe. So, or at least may not be accessible. I don't think that we would like lose it in the sense that like eventually you would probably get that same number of dollars back, but like when and what will the dollar be worth when that happens?
Yeah, it's probably the best thing right now. Just keep enough money in the banks to pay your mortgage, you know, the bills that come out, and then
Right,
keep the rest of it sitting in a safe at home or what have you.
right. Yeah, I mean, like none of us can get by probably already. And that's what kind of scares me about the digital currencies. That like right now we couldn't probably even already go without using digital money at all. Like your job a lot of time will not even pay you anymore,
Right.
other than deposit. And if they were to cut you a physical check, like okay, now you have to go like cash it somewhere, and if you can't even do that, you have to pay for it. And then how are you going to pay all your bills with cash? Are you mailing in money orders? Are you mailing in checks? Whatever. Like it's theoretically possible, but you still have to go through these financial institutions to get money orders and cashier's checks and everything.
Yeah, or you could get the bank teller to pay it. You know, you go in and you have $2,000 and you have. I remember that's the way we used to do it. We used to bring all our bills to the bank and say, "Yeah, here's 200 for the phone." Well, I guess Mark wouldn't have to worry about that, but
Right.
you know, if Mark had to pay for his heating bill or what have you. But
Right.
yeah, I'm not making fun of you, Mark. I'm actually flabbergasted that you don't have a cell phone. That's amazing. Good on you.
Yeah, and he made the point that even in Greece, when they had a spike in the crisis a few years ago, they even like took what was in bank boxes, like safety deposit boxes.
Right.
So nothing that you have in the system, even like physical items, are necessarily safe.
That's why I think a lot of people have safes at home, not just gun safes anymore. Like I keep a lot of my silver and my valuables in my one gun safe. And it's yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna start putting more money into that, and just in case, you know, if something does happen,
Yep.
you got it.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. What do you guys have any questions? There have definitely been. I know there's one called, people have talked about other banks that may go. One called Signature Bank already closed for the same reasons.
Signature. I wonder if we have one of those in Canada.
I'm not sure.
Uh,
Yeah, Horde Books. Amazon was like going back and like retroactively changing books that are on Kindle, like removing troublesome language and shit.
wow.
So that's why I have like my huge physical dictionary. So they can't change that, change the words.
Well, didn't they the encyclopedias back in the 40s or whatever, didn't they take all those books back and change them because of Antarctica of some sort?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I haven't heard about Antarctica.
But yeah, let me see if I can turn this light down here. This is kind of there.
Into the Wilderness says, if I melt dry ice, can I swim in it and not get wet? Well, dry ice doesn't really melt, it sublimates. So it like goes directly from a solid to a gas. And then you could like go into the air or the gas, but couldn't really, and you'd probably suffocate and pass out.
Oh.
Download everything you find worth keeping, get a few terabyte of good drives. You're all just gonna have like terabytes of porn.
Well, that totally makes sense.
Like I got everything I need.
Yeah.
We like, didn't what books? All right, sure,
yeah,
books.
We didn't take a lot of books over in Afghanistan. You know, didn't let a lot of Kindle books over in Afghanistan. It was gigs and gigs of porn. But yeah, that's you're absolutely right. But then that kind of brings up the next thing. Like if something catastrophic happens and there's no power, then you know your terabyte upon terabytes of porn is absolutely useless.
Right. You have to be able to like turn on your computer or tablet or something. So
yeah,
get the Zender Superbase Pro Power Station. I will put the link in the description when we're done. It's pretty great. I love having that thing. You could run your porn computer off it if you need to. You could run power tools, a coffee maker.
Yeah, I was looking at
refrigerator.
that, selling my gas generator and looking at something like that because eventually when the gas goes to shit, that generator is just going to be a paperweight.
Yeah.
If I can get into maybe a solar generator, that'd be
yeah. Michael says, do you think small locally owned banks are safer? Yeah, I mean, they won't probably in most cases, but they won't be immune from anything that happens with the currency and the overall economy. But like they're more likely to be like properly capitalized, I think. So short term, like little banks, credit unions are probably a lot safer. My crippled girlfriend broke up with me, but I kept her wheelchair. Guess who came crawling back?
Right. Just for you guys watching on TikTok right now, if you guys want to go to the actual Rule the Wasteland on YouTube, where you can kind of see this go on. Eric makes a lot of videos throughout the week about good prepping things and ideas of such.
I try.
Might be something to check out when you get a chance.
Yep. So what I'd like to see some predictions of what you guys think will be happening over the next week. Do you think they'll be able to quell people's fears and get the market to like not really do much Monday? Do you think it's going to tank? What do you guys think is going to happen?
I'm going to watch The Simpsons and see what they have to say because
they predict everything.
Hang on for a whole number of years. So.
Well, I mean, Kenny Power said small banks are actually worse than the 10 banks to fail are all small banks. Small is relatively speaking. I mean, SVB was not a small bank in the sense that like he was talking about earlier, like your corner bank that's regional or whatever. SVB had billions of like assets on their books.
But even like I was Silicon Valley Bank that went down.
Right.
Silicon Valley was worth billions. Like wasn't
right. These are not like small banks and like if you go to your corner credit union or whatever.
Right.
Like they weren't JP Morgan, or Bank of America, but they're not like small banks. Chartered flights back to Israel will coincidentally increase dramatically. Yeah, that probably could be the case. Totally coincidentally though.
I wish I had a little crystal ball and I could, kind of say what's been going on. But I think, for the average person right now, it's just, go to your bank, take $200 out a day or, whatever you can afford, leave enough in there for your, your mortgage or your bills or whatever to come out. And then,
right. You know what you're going to have to pay from debit, your utilities, and anything that you're currently putting on credit card, you could buy with cash most of the time, pull most of that money out if you're living like paycheck to paycheck kind of thing. If you're lucky enough to not be living paycheck to paycheck, I would just make sure you pull out, 3 to 6 months of living expenses in literal cash, and then you don't have to worry about doing it periodically. You know what I mean? Just keep that 3 months worth or whatever. And then you can do whatever because then if you have extra money, you shouldn't just be leaving it in your checking account anyway. You should be investing it or doing something with it. And, once you have 3 or 6 months, you're not just going to keep putting cash in your house until you have, $500,000 in cash. That's not necessarily the best bet. But then you look into gold and silver. You can look into what type of stocks or foreign stocks or whatever. But yeah, I would try to build up a couple of months worth of actual cash.
Yeah, I wouldn't really be looking at the stocks right now because I put a lot of money into my bank stock up here in Canada, and I was buying it at $85 a share. Well, it's now down to $65 a share, so it's that's a pretty painful hit. But I would wait for the stocks, but silver, gold would be good for trading and bartering and what have you.
Right.
Bullets and beans, but it's always good to kind of keep that cash on hand because it's a lot of people are too reliant using their bank card and it's gonna kick out one of these times. And it always has. Did it happen down in the States when Rogers kind of shit the bed?
What specifically happen?
So you couldn't use debit, couldn't use credit card. There was an internet outage for a good 16 hours.
Not like over the whole country, but I mean, there's been different times when internet went out and people couldn't purchase shit.
Gotcha.
It has never been like a major widespread though.
Yeah, so that happened here in Canada last year, and it was crazy. It was almost like they were just testing the waters to
And
see.
that could be it, to find like probing the system to find like weak points. And someone said something here earlier. What did it said? Money won't matter when there's no food. A hungry man won't want your silver coins. I mean, I agree, but I don't think that like we're going to be in a position where there just won't be any food anywhere. It will just be almost more important to have money. Like even in North Korea, you can get food if you have enough money,
Right.
unless we have a worldwide famine. And even then, there will not be zero food. I kind of have seen this idea pop up that like, and I think it's like sour grapes. They're hoping a lot that people like even the rich people won't get. And I'm like, the rich people are, no matter what the scenario is, the rich people are almost always going to be better off than the poor people, because whatever resources are left at all will still be accessible with money. It'll take a lot more money, but there's always, unless we get to like a full on, worldwide shit hit the fan, like a solar flare just fries the entire planet and everything shuts down. Unless we're going to that, there's going to be some sort of civilization. It's going to be some sort of trade. It's going to be some sort of like wealth and things that people will still own the land, the farms, the resources, whatever. And having more wealth is always going to be better than having less of it.
Yeah, 100%. Like, everybody says money doesn't buy you happiness. Well, you're absolutely right. It doesn't. But
Right.
when, a loaf of bread costs $1,000, won't buy happiness, but I'll buy a loaf of bread.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It'll keep you alive. And then it's up to you to be happy about that.
I'd be pretty happy.
It can make your life a lot more comfortable, to put it that way. Yeah, silver and gold have always been money, and I can think they will continue to be, and that's why I love it and have it. I love this one. Pirate Booty.
Nice.
This is a 15 ounce
Jeez.
board.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a big one. You guys may have seen that up there before.
15 ounces. What did that cost?
Oh man, these were, it depends on when I bought it. I don't remember, but it wasn't cheap, and it was a little bit more than normal because it's like a statue basically, it's not just like a rounds.
Right.
But I don't remember when I got it. But I think I'm in the black on most of my silver. Like it's worth more now than when I paid for most of it.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
But like I said, I'm not really holding it to like flip for a few dollars,
So,
It's my backup plan.
I got a bit of a question for you.
Yeah.
So I seen a video on TikTok over the weekend, and a couple from Canada was down in the States buying meat, and it was like all this meat was really, really cheap. Like
Right.
I picked up a tenderloin at Costco. They used to be $99 or whatever. I can't offhand remember how many ounces or what the weight was, but I was buying it last year and a half ago for about $99. Now it's up to 175.
Yeah.
It's quite crazy, but it seems down in the States meat is cheap.
I've been talking about that. I don't know how it is everywhere in the country, but I've been kind of surprised at how cheap it is out here in Vegas for the past few years. Like we can still buy like beef steaks and everything for like $6 to $12 a pound, like good steaks, and like ground beef anywhere from $5 to $8, $9 a pound, depending on what quality and what brand and what sales. But yeah, like meat is not expensive right now. Even pork, we heard about there being like major shortages. I've been getting bacon the past few days for less than $5 a pound. So eggs are the one thing that are still expensive, but pork, beef, general chicken meat is not expensive in terms of everything else.
I don't know why Canada keeps getting fucked when it comes to with this type of thing. Like even I remember going back in 2010 when I went down to California for training for Afghanistan. We were buying the pucks of Skull straight for like $4.99.
Yep, little cans. What are they, like $20 now? $25?
What in Canada? The pucks?
Yeah.
It's 43, I think.
For like one can of Skull?
Yeah, for one can of Skull.
Oh,
It's crazy. 43, almost $50. It's crazy the amount of money that they put on taxes here, and I really think it has everything to do with our bumbling prime minister. But
Probably.
I keep getting told I'm wrong about that, but who knows?
Well, he's not helping. Let's put it that way. Even if it's not totally his fault, he's definitely not helping the situation. Eggs here. Who was it? Said not in here in New York. The red meat has gone up and has more than doubled in price. So yeah, so it's not cheap everywhere, and not. I don't think like necessarily like $10 a pound for beef is cheap, but like I would have expected it to be a lot more by now than anywhere from $6 to $10. And you can spend more than that. I mean, if you go get them like big tomahawk or filet, you can pay $20, $30 a pound easily. But if you're just trying to get meat, don't want to pay a lot, you can do that for the most part.
No, it's crazy. It's just it's a bit of a shit show that kind of happens out here, but it's always been I'm supposed to go to work in a couple weeks, and I'm debating whether or not I'm waiting for my passport right now because I want to drive through the States just to see how cheaper things are. And
right.
I don't know.
But it might even out because you'll be using Canadian dollars, you know what I mean? So who knows?
Well, yeah, that too. Well, before I do it, I'd probably get about $500 or $600 from the bank, like go to the bank if I still can. At that time, American money.
Right.
Only if I won the lottery, of course, because I imagine $500 or $600 would be like,
yeah. The Kenny Power said the powdered eggs on Amazon went way up. I was trying to re-up not long ago, and I was like, oh, they're a little expensive. Oh, wait, now they're like fucking crazy expensive, and I'm like, because I wanted more of the powdered eggs, but oh well. Maybe eventually they'll come back down. But what do you guys think will happen on in the markets tomorrow? Let me know. Total tank, moderate downswing, or will they somehow manage to convince everybody that everything's hunky dory?
I don't know, man. It's probably they'll probably say, everything's good to go because they don't want people to panic, right?
Right.
They don't want.
To some extent, they don't really or not supposed to really control what happens in the markets. Like if people decide to pull all their money out, that could cause a cascading event of some kind.
I know a lot of people were talking about pulling all their money out of the bank, about 6 or 7 months ago. Who knows what's happening with that now? But
and maybe some of that is what precipitated these things where they have less assets on management. SBQR, thank you for the super chat. My friend says, what do you all think is the best way that preppers can capitalize on in a collapse event? Buying up real assets when they tank initially, I think is, for me, I mean, other than just preparing ahead of time, but like the collapse itself, I think there will be an initial time period where people will still be taking money for these things when they probably shouldn't, but they'll be at a lower price. And then we can like try to buy up shit like real estate, the metals, even, businesses like stocks for things that actually do, miners and commodities, shit like that. That would be what do you think? What's the best way for preppers to capitalize on a collapse event?
Well, I probably have a location to go to. Don't plug into your, if you live in a city, I would say get the fuck out of Dodge as soon as possible. Well, that's only if you have a place to go. If you don't,
right.
I don't know, have a good prepper network around to see if you become marauders or whatever, take over your neighborhood and then start taking over other neighborhoods. But that's in a huge kind of shit hits the fan scenario. But I would say have a good prepper network and have a place to go in case, when and if this does happen.
Yeah, Trout Junkie says full rally tomorrow. Dow is already 300 up pre-market because FDIC stepped in. And yeah, I've seen that the futures are actually like trending upward. And I think that is them like basically conjuring a shitload of money to try and convince people that it's not going to tank. But I think a lot of people, if the market's open and they're like, I'm kind of like even right now on these financials, I'm going to take a step back and, for the next 2 weeks, that'll make it easier for people to like sell into, I think. And I still definitely think that we'll see a moderate to major dip tomorrow. but I think they'll try to prop it up and it'll kind of bounce pretty quick. And then who knows over the next few days.
So what do you think is going to happen if that does take place?
What's that?
So if that does take place, how catastrophic is it?
I don't think initially it'll be that catastrophic. I agree with, who was it that was talking up here? I forget where they said they'll yeah, it'll be like the toilet paper. People will pull out. It'll be a little bit of a panic maybe, where people are like, oh my God, the financials are going down. What do we do? We might see a few more banks fail within the next couple of weeks. But then after that, I think everything will kind of like putter along for a while before. I still don't think we'll have major problems until we lose the dollar as a reserve currency, because as long as we have that, the dollar is worth enough that we can like do a lot of weird shit with propping the system up when they're willing to print tons and tons of money, and then it being the reserve currency prevents us from having to deal with the consequences of that, at least initially. That allows them to do a lot. But when the money isn't worth as much anymore, that's when we'll really have some major problems. But it could go the other way. This could be the first domino and they all go right away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, it's, again, if only we knew what could happen. But
yeah,
it's kind of a prep for everything, and hopefully nothing happens.
Right. Tinfoil Tiara says anyone that buys antibiotics online for their fish will not be able to after June. Interesting. I had not heard that, and I don't like that. But luckily, there are things like the Jace case, and what was the other one that JJ was talking about recently that did something with a D, that they actually will, it costs a little bit more, but they will send you other medications other than antibiotics too, potentially, depending on what you need. Like if you have a prescription for it, they can give you more of them, which is awesome, because Jace case is like just the antibiotics, which if you're not on other medications, that's fine. I don't really, there's other than vitamins, I don't have medication that I take like daily, luckily. So I don't have it. Yeah, you got the Jace case right on. Does anyone remember the name of that other business that does pretty much the same thing, but they can do other medicines as well?
So I took this Jace case to a doctor friend of mine, and I said, hey, what do you think of this? Something that I got online, to promote it for, on my TikTok videos and stuff. He's like,
yeah.
Where did you get this type of stuff? Because this is really, you really need this. And
right.
Very impressed with the amount of stuff that the case came with. And I suggest everybody go online. Now it's kind of a little bit more money, but it's I'd rather have it, not need it, and then need it and not have it. And a lot of people are saying, oh yeah, once they expire, they're garbage. Well, no.
They can last for years, and like there are you might have to use a little bit more of it, so you should try to find, I think they have tables where like after 10 years you should use this much instead of that much or whatever, but they actually can last a long time. Like the typical antibiotics, I can't speak for every medication, but
and the really cool thing with the Jace case, this can't really
right, it tells you what to use it for and everything.
But it comes with the emergency antibiotic guide, and it tells.
And that's huge. So now, like if you have the Jace case, you can go buy other fish antibiotics for a little bit cheaper, maybe before they make it illegal, and then you already have the info on how to use them, and you can save a little bit of money that way. But does anyone remember the one that JJ was talking about, that the other company that can give you other medications? What the hell? There's something with a Duration Health. Is that it? Yeah, Duration Health. They cost more, but they can apparently give you other medications beyond just antibiotics. So if you have something that you take regularly, maybe heart medication, I don't even metformin, whatever, I would look into that. I don't know what all medications they can. I'm not yet an affiliate with them, but I'm definitely looking into it, because that's a really cool. And so either one of those, if you don't have any specific medication you need, to go with Jace case, a little bit cheaper, and then otherwise check them out. Rico, thank you for the super chat. Says, you guys rule. Get some nuclear shelter. I'm in Sao Paulo. Lots of subways to hide from radiation. Take care. Yeah, you could. They would probably work great. You'll probably be down there with a lot of other people. So be ready for that. Be ready for that. Have a way to hide your shit.
The zombies from The Last of Us are all going to be hanging out
right
with you.
Speaking of which, I got the last episode tonight, I think. I'm going to continue to make the videos where I talk about those episodes, but I'm behind. Yeah, no Oscar party, please. I think I'd rather just fucking dig a hole and fill it back up again than watch the Oscars. Yeah, vitamins are great too, of course. But yeah, just make sure you don't spend a shitload of money buying random shit.
Yeah, and, it was crazy. I went when I heard last year about there was a shortage of children's Tylenol and stuff because of the labeling couldn't be written in French and English. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird. So I went out and bought a bunch. Of course.
Tinfoil Tiara says starting 2024, vitamins will be the same. You will need a prescription. I had not heard that. Put a link in there if you have that, because I had not heard that. They might be trying to do that. I would be surprised if they could make that happen, but because it would just clog up like something like vitamin C or whatever, you literally can't like hurt yourself with. But
yeah,
I definitely can't. I definitely imagine they're trying that because they got really butthurt that people were like actually able to prevent COVID with like zinc and vitamin D and everything. That they did kick off like the NAC, that supplement. They kicked that off Amazon because they found out that might be helping. I don't know. They're fuckers. Out of water.
Yeah, they don't want you to fill yourself on the old, the stuff that you can get over the counter and such. You got to buy our $4 million medications to
Right. Exactly. Cool. You guys got any questions for we've been going, we already hit 45 minutes.
Nice.
I actually have a few memes. I can do that.
Yeah, I like memes.
Let's do it.
I'll put this back.
I haven't done them in a while. I forgot to put a lot on my computer, so some of the better ones I don't even have. But let's see what we got. So share screen. Where am I? All right. Okay, see it? Says when you read about some nonsense happening in the military, but you don't care because you have a DD-214. And I don't know what you guys call yours, but that's what you get when you separate.
Oh, when you got your
when you get out of service, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And then we have Ron Paul tells fans he is sorry he couldn't do more as he seals up his bunker. Sorry, guys, you're on your own. And then we got deer when they hear a twig snap within a 3-mile radius, and they're all freaking out. Deer when a 25,000-pound semi-truck is barreling at them at 80 miles an hour. There was room for Jack on the door, but there was another problem. She was 26. And we know Leo kicks him out after they're 25.
Jesus.
And then we have, not sure what's going on here, but I felt this group was the perfect audience for it. And I also have no idea what's going on. I mean, I have an idea, don't get me wrong, but not exactly what's going on.
Hey, yep.
Yep, and then here we have not a cell phone in sight, just people living in the moment, getting marauded and burned out. Then we have what girls think boys watch at night, Pornhub. What boys actually watch at night, Batman beating up a guy for 10 hours. The 10-hour video.
Oh, man.
Then we have when you've been in the queue to see the Queen for 14 hours. Pants are all fucking filled up. And then we have when the restaurant brings out bread for the table. Morphs into a duck. Then we have, nah, man, night shift isn't too bad. You just have to get used to it. Michael, age 24. Then we have, of course, size matters. Nobody wants a small cup of coffee, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
What are you thinking? Netflix adaptation of The Spy Balloon.
Bro.
True, bruh. The FBI guy watching me download my 8 terabyte of mayonnaise slapping noises named How to Make a Bomb 101, forcing him to listen to all of it. Her, I don't know how I can pay my rent, unbuttons blouse. Him, oh, I think there's a way, unzips pants. Everyone else playing Monopoly. What the fuck? They have me getting executed in 2030 for owning things and being happy.
Because you'll own nothing and be happy.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't taste Five Guys. Got Dahmer.
Wonderful.
Yep. Then we have, what are you going to do? Take on the whole army with your little AR-15? It would be useless against tanks and planes. So I can keep my AR-15? No, it's a weapon of war.
Oh,
Yeah, they can't make up their mind on that one.
of course.
Then we have, oh my God, that cop lady slept with 5 coworkers. Every female soldier right now. I knew you would like that one.
Nice. Oh,
And then we have scientists who didn't predict a single thing accurately for the last 2 years, confidently know what the weather is going to be like in 100 years.
yeah.
Too true. Then we have, when my meme hits 3 likes, influencer. And I think that's it. Yep. All right. So we got some memes.
Nice. There's a guy on TikTok right now that does so down in China somewhere. But anyway, he's a cook, but he always washes his food. So I just saw one before this started. It's a duck, and somebody's like, "Oh, I've always wanted a pet duck." And you see ducks in the bath, and he's puts it in the back, and then you see him pick it up, and then the next scene's a giant pot. And
Right.
It's all dead.
I've seen one with like a rooster too. It shows him like a same pot thing. He grabs a rooster and it's like, "Wah!" And then just throw it in the pot.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like, it's just people like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this. But
right.
I always say, oh, great. Now, just the way, because it's in China, I'm like, great, now I have COVID.
Freedom by Me said, whatever happened with JJ? Why did he stop collabing? He had just had scheduling issues and a few other things he had to deal with. It was never any problem or no bad blood or anything like that. And he's even said he may be able to come back. And he does his own live streams. I don't know if he has a schedule, because I always seem to just see him pop up, but he might. I don't remember. But I'll definitely talk to him and chat with him on the comments and whatnot. So no issues. Just hadn't been. He didn't want to try to keep doing it on the same schedule, but he said he might come back and do it at some point, or maybe I'll jump in on his. Who knows?
So JJ was before me, I'm guessing.
Yeah, he was the one who originally contacted me and Shay. He was like, "Hey, do you guys want to do a trifecta type 3-person live stream?" So have to thank him for that. Got me started on doing the live streams. I never really did before.
Excellent. So
we, as far as Che goes, he's same thing, scheduling issues. We got to chat with him offline to see if there's some better times to do it, because he hasn't been able to make the last few, but no specific reason, and that he won't be coming back or anything like that. So we just got to talk to him, set it up. So humor will get us through all of this. I agree.
And dark humor will get us through anything.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, we've gone about an hour. Do you have anything else you want to go over before we call it?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Cool.
Hopefully we can kind of do this in another 2 weeks. I might be starting my drive to Ontario, but I'll keep you informed of what's going on.
And it doesn't have to be 2 weeks. It could be next. It could be 3, whatever, whatever works.
Oh yeah.
But,
sure.
Cool. Thanks for watching, guys, and hope you enjoyed the memes. I'll try to have more next time, and we will talk to you guys later.
Check out Rule the Wasteland on YouTube.
And check out Gray Sox Productions on TikTok.
But Mark won't see me because he doesn't have a phone.
Yeah, if you don't have a phone and you hate the Chinese knowing what you're doing.